La, la, la. Hello everybody. How you doing everybody down there in my slops tree? Yes, well, I gotta make some more GP bowls because we're out of them again. And so I know we've done a million clips on GP bowls, but I thought, well, if we get a different camera angle, it might make it a little bit more interesting. So now I put it here so you can see the gauge. What we've got to do, of course, get the clay up to the gauge. But before I get it up to the gauge, I do roll the rim. Sometimes it's good to see something made just from a different angle. So just getting it out to within sort of about 1/32 of an inch away from the gauge. Going in with my stick here right at the base of the pot, cleaning the slurry away and sharpening, cleaning it basically right down to the root of the pot, as I like to call it. Taking the chamois, doing the rim, taking my sponge, just cleaning out the inside, and that's it. Take my wire, cut off, lift off. Coning up, centering down, cleaning it right there with my thumb at the base just to clear away the skirt of clay. Going in with two fingers, finger and thumb, like that. Going in now with my left hand, opening out. Just use this right hand here and just literally just pushing against it like that. Gives me a nice bowl form, you see. I like to sort of think of these, in fact I like to think of bowls really as being made, getting the inside shape right and then sort of forming the outside shape around the inside shape, if you get me. So before I get too wide, getting my height, rolling my rim, now taking it up further and out to the gauge. You really need to work to a gauge to get consistency. The gauge really disciplines you. A lot of people don't like working to a gauge because they complain that they hit the gauge. Well, That's the training, isn't it? To train yourself not to hit the gauge. Alright, getting the shape, getting the outside shape, getting the profile, checking in my mirror over there, getting my leather, leathering the rim, my sponge, one final check in the mirror, cut him off. Going for my towel, wiping the slurry off my hands, in underneath, pick him up, put him down. Next. So, centering, coning up, centering down. Clean it with a foot there, down there, with a thumb. See that? Take that away. Going down, establishing the base thickness. Pushing out with my left hand, which will be this hand I'm talking about, my left hand. Narrowing the foot, you see, pulling that clay up, getting the height. Got to get that height first, you see. If you get the width before the height, you'll never get the height, because once you've got the thing out to full width, it's very difficult to gain any height. But if you get the height first, you can then open it, widen it, and as you widen it, it'll come down. It'll come down to my friend the gauge, who's just waiting there to be touched, but he ain't gonna be. He comes close, but that's all. Okay, so now get yourself a nice little gauge. You want something that's nice and hard and solid, so that if you touch it, it really gouges the pot. You don't want something that doesn't gouge, otherwise you'll never respect it. Foot tool down at the base here. Clean it down to the root. Okay, leather. Now when you throw, I'm putting my tools all back in the same place, you see, so I know exactly where they are, and I've only got my 5 throwing tools. Check in the mirror, are we good? Yes, cut off, right. Clean hands, lift him up and put him down. Why don't we set up the camera just slightly from a different angle so that you can see it from a slightly different viewpoint. So, grabbing the camera, I've got it set in a lump of clay. How about that, folks? Camera set in a lump of clay. I'm going to sit it right here. Should we take that as an angle like that? Okay, there we are. Okay, let's carry on exactly what we've been doing. Coning up. Centering down. Clean it down there at the base, take that clay away. You don't want that clay there, it's a nuisance if you leave it. Going in, And my left hand lifting the clay up. Using my right hand here, just keeping it there. I'm really just lifting against my right hand. I'm not using my fingers, I'm just keeping it there like that. Again. Got to get a bit of height here, pushing in from at the bottom and then pulling out, getting the height. I'm going to roll the rim in a second. Like that. And over and like that. Keep the pot nicely watered. Don't have the wheel going too fast. Speaking to you bods out there on electric wheels. We're not on a race circuit, you know. Keep the speed only as fast as it needs to be, no faster. Slower the wheel speed, get more feeling into the clay. Okay, trim tool, sorry, throwing stick, not trim tool. Down to the base, taking now I know you all like GP bowls because they're so useful, aren't they? And we can make them big, we can make them small, we can make them middle size. We can join two together, make them into a double bowl. We can give them a pouring lip, can't we? Why don't we give this one a pouring lip? All right, so we're going to give this one a pouring lip. Just taking some of the slurry off my hand there. Hang on, I've just seen something. Just down at the bottom there, just want to, that's it, okay. So, pouring lip. 2 fingers of one hand and 1 finger of your right hand. You're going to put these here like this, okay, and then simply work the clay, you see, like this, left and right. You're not pulling it, just work it left and right like this. Alright. It's going to turn it from being a GP bowl into a bowl that can pour as well. Of course you can still, I have to be careful with the gauge here, I might hit the gauge, you see, if I spin it round, so I won't spin it round. Sometimes I just spin it round just to okay, there it is. Pouring lip. Okay, so what we're going to have to do now is cut him off like that, and then I've run out of board space. Would you believe? Okay, well I'll stick it on a round bat that I've got here. Okay, so we're going to lift him up from there. So a bowl with a pouring lip is even more useful, isn't it, than just a simple GP bowl. It's got that extra use. So think about that. I'm going to carry on now making. I've got a couple more lumps here before I need to wedge up any more over there. So meanwhile, keep practicing. See you around. Bye bye.